Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. As always, I have a great show. I do want to remind you, though, I will be in San Diego July 27th at Humphreys by the Bay with Julie Goldman. And then for my Texas cuties, I've got Chris Fangiola joining me in Dallas. It goes Houston on August 8th, then Dallas August 9th, and then Austin August 10th. All of that is at heathermcdonald.net with all the dates. We've got Saratoga after that, Vegas, and then a bunch of East Coast dates as well as Chicago, all in October at heathermcdonald.net. That's where you join Patreon. I am going to have new and fabulous shows while I am traveling. But while I'm traveling, what I will always be doing are the regular Patreons, which that is where I will comment on what is happening in my life right as I'm traveling, what's going on, what Juicy Scoop is happening in your world. And then I also have great interviews that I've done that I so look forward for you guys enjoying. And that is all going to be at heathermcdonald.net is where you join the Patreon. Okay. So now let's get into some scoop. Karen Read. Okay. Now they are still saying they're a hung jury. This is the Karen Read trial, which I've talked many times about. I also want to remind you there were 33 days of testimony, 74 witnesses. My coverage of it was just to inform you guys that this is a very juicy case where a woman's life is on the line as far as doing significant prison time if she is convicted of backing her car into her boyfriend and killing him and leaving him in the snow to die. Or did the police that all were at this house party that he allegedly possibly attended, did they do something to him and get in a fight with him and kill him and then frame her? Was she framed by the Canton Police Department? That is the controversy. There's, like I said, there's an entire trial and there are people that have covered it for hours and hours and hours and hours and have sat home. You might be one of them and watched it. So that when I talk about it, I just am talking about, yes, there's a documentary happening. Yes, I think Blake Lively should be playing her. And then I thought about what if, in fact, this is a hung jury? What does that mean? Well, it means that they will do the trial again, which in most cases, the prosecution has an advantage because now they have seen what the defense was. They didn't know what the defense was before. Now they do. And they know, and they probably will also, and they will also know, was it really close? Was there only one holdout or was it, they were split 6-6? So they're going to have to really put on a different case to convince them. Or is it possible, and I don't know if it is, but is it possible that they could come back and have her do a plea deal? If you remember the in the case of the stairway, what was it? The staircase with Michael Peterson. Did he beat his wife and her body was found at the end of the stairs, or did she attempt to go up the stairs, slip and fall, and bled? That whole case, they had a documentary following him for years. There was a hung jury. There was another trial. And then eventually he did take a plea to finish his time and get out of there. So we don't know if that's something that could happen here. Would she ever take some sort of plea of inadvertently, I'll just plea, even though it wasn't true, but I'll just plea that I'm guilty of second degree or involuntary manslaughter, just so that I'll do a year of time and then I get out. And then those are the kind of things I like to think about. Like, would I do that? If I was in her position and I 100% now believe I was completely innocent, even though there was, I might have had a few drinks, I now know from the evidence that was presented, I'm 100% convinced that the police have framed me and they have put me through hell and back. And no way am I going to say, okay, fine, I'll do a year. No way. Or would I say, even though I'm innocent, I'm going to do a year and I will make the best of it like Teresa Giudice did. I'll make friends with the girls. I'll start to learn to do impressions of the guards and win over the other inmates. And I will work out and I will keep a journal and have a best-selling book once I come out. I don't know. I would have to really think about it. Now that my kids are older, if she doesn't have kids, so I see why someone wouldn't want to do it if they had to like leave their 2-year-old child for a year or two. But those are the things I think about. That is what Juicy Scoop is. It's me thinking about what would I do if in fact that was ever going to be a possibility and I ever found myself in this position. And I think that's why people are so into this case and why they get angry if I mess up a fact, because it is riveting, or they are from Boston, or they do believe that this is something that has been going on in their town for years when it comes to the police force. And they're thinking about what if they were in that position? What if they were suddenly her? So we will see. But as of now, again, when this episode goes up, something may have gone down in the hours of me recording it and it going on, and you're going to want to correct me, and go ahead, do it. But I'm recording this on Monday afternoon, and so far the news is they still have not come to a decision. So the BET Awards, they did an in memoriam, and they featured OJ Simpson. And Ron Goldman's family, Kim Goldman, who's a friend, who's been on the show, they were not happy. Neither was Nicole's family. You can imagine why he would be honored at all. You know, he was definitely a wife beater. He definitely abused his wife. That, without a doubt, I think with that. But then also, you know, he's a murderer. Okay, so why was he honored for what he contributed to the world? I don't know. I don't think it was a great idea. They were not happy with it. Also, I saw that Faye Resnick has a documentary on HBO Max. I have not watched it, but I'm going to. I always found her fascinating. Her book was so good. And then, of course, we saw her a lot on The Real Housewives. And Camille had that great scene at that dinner where that psychic was vaping before we knew what vaping was. And then Camille said, "Oh, I know where I know you from. You're the morally corrupt Faye Resnick." Because Faye Resnick did a spread in Playboy after she wrote her book and was, you know, really in the news for several years after this. Well, she is a fascinating woman, and I'm excited to watch her documentary to see what perspective she has in now, because so many of the things that she said in that book were later proved to be true, you know, decades later when there were all these other documentaries that came out about the murders about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. All that stuff was proven. So that was, if you ever get a chance to get your hands on her book, you should read it. It's really good. So I found this kind of interesting because Bethenny Frankel broke up with her boyfriend, or he broke up with her, whatever, they broke up. They were engaged. His name is Paul. He is now dating this divorced mother of 2 named Aurora Culpo. I hope I'm saying her name right. She's one of 3 sisters. They had 1 season on TLC. So her 2 other sisters, there's 3 sisters. I don't really know how they became famous. I think they were all like married to like or dating kind of great people, and they were influencers. I don't really know. I didn't watch the show. So, but this girl, she has a podcast. She's divorced. She talks a lot about sex and dating. Her sister just got married, and I saw that. I don't know if they went together. But I thought it was kind of interesting that he obviously doesn't have a problem with dating someone in the limelight, because he, you know, went from Bethenny Frankel, who does a lot on, you know, social media and everything, and on her podcast, to another girl who's huge on social media and podcasting. And, you know, I just thought that was just kind of interesting because people always think, oh, he probably couldn't take it anymore. No, just like if Ben and Jen actually break up, he'll probably go for another actress who's out there. Probably he will. Okay. This was kind of funny. So Taylor Swift had her show in Dublin and Travis showed up. Some people thought she didn't know he was coming and she was surprised. But in the seats, Julia Roberts was there and people took photos and thought that she was a little too close in talking to Travis. I'm like, okay, enough already. It's loud. She's talking to him. She has kids. You don't know what she's saying. You don't know if she's saying, oh, my son is the biggest fan of yours or whatever. She's not trying to bone Travis. Okay, so just relax, everybody. Then there was another article. Oh, Travis Kelce had a boys' night out with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tristan Thompson. And then I read the article, and it's like a private dining club in LA, and it was a night like celebrating a bunch of these guys, or it was like a guys only night or something. But they did not like come together in a car or even leave together in a car. They saw them come out and they came out at different times to leave. So I'm like, what are you, like, even if they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Like, it's not like guys' night out. I just feel like, look, I've talked a lot about it, but that was a lame article. Okay. I loved this because one of my Juicy Scoopers said that I have to start monetizing these ideas. I have talked about how there should be a scripted show, much like Unreal did with The Bachelor, where it was a show about the making of The Bachelor with the producers and everything behind the scenes. I've been saying that should happen with The Real Housewives. Well, it is. And Jennifer Lawrence is starring in a Real Housewives-inspired murder mystery for Apple. So another thing, I mean, this is a great idea for a scripted show. I don't care that someone took my idea. I've told people to take my idea so that I can enjoy these kind of shows. But I love it if it is a behind the scenes, like the woman is on a Real Housewives show and we see the producers and everybody calling her fake fighting with her friend, and then like her husband gets murdered and maybe she is a suspect and all the housewives talk about it. Or I've always thought here's another storyline, make it happen. I always thought it'd be really juicy if there was a movie where like two women hate their husbands and they want them dead and they each kill the other one's husband. So somehow it can't get tracked back to them. Like they either hire someone to kill it, just something where they go, okay, our pact is we hate our husbands, but we're going to kill each other's so that it can't, so we didn't kill our own. I don't know. That could be really juicy too for this story. I don't know what it is. It's going to be juicy and good. Lisa Rinna, I don't know why she was doing like an Andy Warhol look. She has this wig on. But other people said that she's starting to look a lot like her husband, Harry Hamlin. And I do find it interesting, plastic surgery or not, when a couple who's been together for a really long time start to look like each other. I find that fascinating. She by Sheree was stopped by TMZ, and she's very worried about the Real Houses of Atlanta. She says it's going downhill. She's not on it. Candy's not on it. Now Kenya's kicked off of it. I don't even know what's going to happen with that show, but I feel like a lot of the shows are kind of in jeopardy as far as the Real Housewives, and we don't know what is happening with them. Meanwhile, Kim Zolciak, she went on The Surreal Life, and the reports are that she got into a flirtatious thing with Chet Hanks, son of Tom Hanks. This is kind of the one that's like kind of troubled, and he's like a rapper, and he's all tatted up, and he's been saying weird things for a long time. Anyway, they just might be a match made in heaven. But I will definitely be watching this show. This is one of those, like, kind of like The Villain. They put the people on the show. They all live in a house. And this one, the original Surreal Life was not about competitions and making money. It was just being on the show. That's what I remember. And I remember it was like Corey Feldman, and it was Vern Troyer, that little guy from Austin Powers. And I remember he got so wasted. He had an alcohol problem, and he like like rolled off this bed, and it was just the most amazing show. And it was like the beginning of reality TV, and especially putting celebrities on reality TV. And it was the surreal life. And now it's back. So I don't know that it'll ever be as juicy, 15, 20 years later. But I'm excited to watch it. Kanye West is being sued yet again. This time for alleged abusive work conditions, including using racist language and calling employees, some as young as 14, slaves. I don't understand who the employees are in California that are under 14, unless they're singers and actors, maybe, then they're child actors. But you can't have like 14-year-olds making his Yeezy shoes. So I don't understand where this is coming from. But they say it's forced labor and cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment. The suit claims the employees were coerced into signing non-disclosure statements and threatened with termination if they refused. Also, it says that Bianca, Kanye's wife, is also accused of sending explicit videos to underage employees, and the allegations add to a series of legal troubles and financial concerns surrounding West. I mean, very, very bizarre. I don't really understand who are these underage kids, but of course, remember he was going to start a porn channel, so he was going to call it Yeezy Porn. I don't know if in creating Yeezy Porn, if maybe some porn was like sent to people that were working for him. So bizarre, and we still don't know what the hell is going on with her or what her motivation is. But she was with North in Japan at like a pig cafe where they were just enjoying like coffee and like little pigs run around, like a cat cafe. And she was just wearing like a ballet outfit. She had like a leotard and tights, which is weird out, but at least the tights were like not sheer, and she actually had her crotch covered because she was wearing a leotard. So that's good, hanging out with North. All right, now for some fun topics with the hilarious mean gays. You know them best as the mean gays. This is an incredible persona and TikTok viral sensation comedic duo. The beauty is that the real people behind the characters are not mean. No, they are not. Welcome back, Aaron and Jake.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I wonder if you're being
Heather.
performative, trying to say, you guys, they're so nice.
They're so nice.
Everybody chill out.
They don't realize that we threatened her with blackmail beforehand.
And also, it is we are in July. Pride has
we are
concluded.
straight now.
So we are no longer gay at this moment.
That's right.
And happy about it.
It is July 1st, and I woke up saying, why do I want to date women now? This is insane.
I'm glad we're back to our hetero ways.
I was looking
said.
forward as a gay man to seeing you today because it's like, oh my God, I love Heather McDonald and Juicy Scoop. We get to gossip.
Yeah.
But now I was looking forward because I knew you'd be wearing a cleavage shirt. And I said, that's what as a straight man, that's what I want to see.
You look incredible today.
Yeah, you
I just
really
want to
do.
point
Thank
it
you.
like as
Thank
always,
you.
but it's just so
Gorgeous,
cute.
Well, I felt it was appropriate to have you in July because I know a lot of people will stop booking gays once Pride is over. And I just want people to know that's not me and that's not Juicy Scoop.
Yeah.
I don't care about your sexuality and what month it is.
That's so hot.
You actually refused to have us during Pride Month.
Yeah, you were
said,
like, we won't book you at all.
I
until
won't
it's the
book you during
first."
Pride Month because I'm an ally. And I was like, that's confusing, but
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Can I tell you something shocking though?
Yes.
Not a single brand worked with us over
Can
the
you
month of
believe
June.
that?
No,
I
let's
think
talk about that.
This
Can you
whole
believe that?
year, I think brands were like a little fatigued from last year getting shit on so much.
Yeah.
Because you know
Oh.
the whole queer washing situation.
How would you, what does that mean?
All these brands were getting shit on because brands, the second June starts, they're like gay or like LGBTQ.
They're being accused of being inauthentic.
So this
Right.
month, this year, I think they were like, we've got to chill out.
I think also a lot of them were getting called out by the queer community to say like, okay, so you're gay this month, but also you donate to candidates that
Yeah.
actively are trying to take away our rights. So maybe
so
don't
instead,
fake it.
then nobody got work.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, I still want a paycheck, babe.
Also-
like, I'll
also,
take your
I
cash.
do feel like a big part of it, truly, like the lack of brand deals potentially was like because of the backlash with like Bud Light last year and everything
Yeah.
that like blew the fuck up. And I mean, I'm sorry, I forget.
It's fine. We
can
can
curse,
say,
right? Okay, great.
yeah.
Manager just texted. I think
Oh my
he's
God, this is such a Hollywood
downstairs.
moment.
He
Yes.
said parking.
Since the Mean Gays came
Right.
on Juicy Scoop, they secured a manager.
We did.
So their
joint
lives have
manager.
significantly
We love
changed
him. Yeah.
since you have come on the show. You guys are blowing it up. But wait, I want to get back to, do you also think that maybe right now, and I think it's going to change like in a year or whatever, that because you guys go by Mean Gays, that someone who does not get comedy, which is a lot of people on the internet, they don't get the humor of it. And therefore they were like, I don't know that we want to align with gays that are being
Branded
we
as
don't want
mean.
anyone to think that gays are mean, or you know what I mean? That it's
Yes.
the mean
100%.
gays. Yeah.
I think that could be I think, like I said, the Bud Light stuff, you know, that was such a horrible experience for Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
So bad for her. And the outrage was so performative from, you know,
Kid
Fox
Rock.
News and all those people. And Kid
Yeah.
Rock putting a machine gun to
Specifically
like a
Kid
bunch
Rock.
of Bud Light. Awful. I just did a brand deal earlier this year with Hanes, and the comments on there, I would say 95% of them were homophobic and like, well, I'm never wearing Hanes again. And like, well, you lost my business and all that. And I was like, I wonder if brands are getting more of this and now are scared
Well, okay,
to
also,
hire LGBT influencers.
Also, I think, and I've talked a lot about this because I learned so much this year. I mean, of how things get, the propaganda of whether it's about a war or, you know, anti-Semitic or whatever. I just saw a video of like, you know, somebody with 1 million screens in front of them and how they get engagement and bots and whatever. So even if, like, I even noticed something when I discussed theories about Princess Kate before we knew that she had cancer.
Right.
And I would get all these
poor
accounts
thing.
I
being
was
like,
on that
don't
too.
talk about,
I was
don't,
on that too.
you were wondering what the
Yeah,
truth was,
yeah,
right?
like all
We were just-
until that announcement.
Right, and
things
I
were
wasn't
really,
saying like, you know, but I was like, hey, this is what's being discussed. And because it's being discussed, I'm letting my audience know that it's interesting. I didn't say what it was, whatever,
Yeah.
but I was getting a lot of new bots or whatever they were, comments of not my regular people where I'm like, oh, I think whatever that camp is, like they ignite it to the, and it's not your fans, and it's not, they're not, it's kind of not, it's could maybe not be real. Like it's one camp that's just
100%.
hearing that this is going on, and then they just go after you, and then you're like, well, shit, now I feel like shit, or I don't want to do this anymore. And then the brand is like, well, we certainly don't want to hire him anymore because look what happened. And that was the goal.
It's a flight risk for everybody.
Yeah, that
right?
was the
Like,
goal. It was like, oh, you know, I mean, it happens.
I think the beautiful thing, like circling back to like why June was not like as
Yeah.
queer washed, is because being a brand performing with LGBT creators after June, aside from June, that optically looks so good for them. So like work with us all year. Like I think I was
Which
really
is not, I was joking when I said that's why I hired you
No,
for
it
July.
hasn't.
1,000%, guys. We
Well,
were
I
joking.
had you come on in July.
Yeah.
We're comedians.
No, I just thought of it. Yes.
I think it's nice to not be performative just for this 1 month.
Yeah.
Like we're an integral part of this society. Like work with it. Like our talent is going to be here every day of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
So I'm
I
so
make videos
into-
year round.
I'm so into the idea of like, let's get out of just like June being this surge of crazy.
Yes.
Like we'll align with you for this month. Like let's just expand on it.
Yes.
So with this year kind of being mild, I was like, okay, I think that's a good thing. Maybe we,
I think it's a pendulum swing.
yeah.
I
like,
love
maybe we don't have
this
to be so
one that you
performative.
guys did where you were looking up different, well, how would you describe this video?
This video was we were throwing a pride party and reading rejection DMs from,
So the mean-
from celebrities.
So the Mean Gays were throwing
We were throwing a pride party and nobody came, and so
then-
now
so
we're
you-
calling out the celebrities and canceling them.
and trying to get them canceled.
Exactly.
1000%.
And
Yeah.
did you really write JoJo?
No.
We've got sad news
No,
for
this
you.
is
We did
entirely
not.
scripted, entirely fake.
If
yeah.
Troye Sivan responded to us, I would
Can
have.
you
I
imagine?
would have
Or the
died.
entire cast of Bridgerton,
love
as
that
the video
man.
says? No, no. Entirely scripted, entirely fake. Yeah.
How do you feel about JoJo's new situation and persona and what she is doing for gay pop as the inventor.
You know,
of it.
as the inventor of gay
As the
pop,
inventor
I
of gay
like
pop,
as a gay
yeah.
pop star myself, I just applaud her. Truly,
Yes.
like I'm like, you did it. You were the first. I'm glad you did.
first ever.
In all seriousness, though, we were talking about this the other day. I think there's a value of how campy she's coming across.
Yes.
And I told them, I was like, I think there's always going to be somebody in the mainstream that needs to be the brunt of the joke a little bit. And I don't think she signed up for it, but I also think she's at an age where she probably knows what she's doing. You know? And
well, yeah, I mean, she's driving around in a Lamborghini that's wrapped.
That's wrapped
with
with,
her
her
face.
face.
I just want to like.
And I don't know if you saw that video when we found them, when my
I
son and
sure
I found
did.
them, and I don't think she realized. I think she just thought I was a weird mom, like that wanted like her to meet my kids, but I
Right,
didn't.
right.
I wanted her to come on Juicy Scoop, but she just wasn't having
She's
it.
booked and busy.
And but I also think it's kind of funny because have you heard Katy Perry's new song? That's been slightly released, but
We
I
were
think it's
just
fully
talking
coming
about it
out
the other day.
And it
this
Yeah.
sounds
month.
like an AI copy.
Right. Well, so then I wrote my own song, and
Are you debuting it right now? Is that what's
well,
happening?
I did it on.
Is that what you brought us here?
No, I posted it on my Instagram. My son Drake helped me write it. So
Your,
the
wait,
song,
your son is Drake.
yeah,
That's incredible.
Are we allowed to play the Katie snippet and then yours?
yeah,
Like,
maybe
can we
a
give them a
little bit. We
reference?
could try,
Or
but
should
it
I
was
just
like,
sing it?
but people because it's not totally out yet. I'm like, okay, once her song's out, I'll re-put out the video because a lot of people were like, wait, what is this? But it did get in my head because it goes, sexy, confident. And so
Wait, is it
my
confidant or confident?
sexy, confident.
Confident.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Okay, so then
'Cause those are
mine.
two different words. I don't know.
So
if you know.
mine was sexy Catholic, housewife historian. Da, da, da. I can't remember all the words, but I
That's
put it
already
on the
more
thing.
interesting.
Yeah, I put it out there. It has it's doing decent.
Okay.
It's doing better on Instagram than TikTok. You know how that's always weird.
Sure. Yeah.
And but I think the song has to get out, and then for people to know what I'm referencing.
Erin,
but
you
I
haven't
also
heard
think,
the
do you
song?
think that she?
I heard the clip that you
That I sent
that
you.
you played.
I
yeah.
didn't think it was real at first
I didn't either.
because
and
it was so bad. But now I'm like, it is in my head. So is it like she following the footsteps of like so bad it's good just to get people talking, and then the other songs coming out will be more like her original style.
What I'm hoping is that this is a full PR stunt to be like, I tricked you girls. This was actually just AI generated. Here's the real single.
Yes.
Because it sounds
shit.
such a carbon copy of any like a Macy's commercial would buy that and do
Yeah.
a sync deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's that generic. But she is this woman. She's like, I want to embody women. I want to do it in a strengthful way. I'm also kind of vague with my lyricism
Loves
these
when
days.
people do things strengthfully.
Yeah.
Strengthful.
No, like strong
Yeah.
and soft. That's one of her lyrics. like
Yeah.
strong and soft.
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
go,
what are we?
No, so it was
a Venus
so
commercial?
soft, so,
So
strong.
strong.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a Venus commercial. So it's
Yeah.
it's
Or
interesting.
a toilet paper slogan, strong
Right.
and soft. Yeah, I don't know.
It's amazing. For $120 a month, canines and their owners can gain access to a dog PPL, a private members only dog park. So there's dog parks everywhere, but this is a members only, like a Soho for dogs and their owners.
Love it.
And I think this is so genius to make friends, find romantic partners.
Yeah. You're talking about the dogs or the dogs owners? Yeah.
Both.
I could not
Both.
agree more. There's this huge one called Fetch. I don't know if it's only in the Southeast,
Okay.
but the amount of people I have
And
met,
is it a private?
it's a little bit private. Like you have to pay $20 to get in just on a willy-nilly. I don't know if this is like monthly. This is monthly.
This is a monthly.
But you have to make sure your canine has like all of their tests.
Right.
So like you can just play free. But the amount of people
Oh.
I know who have met and like networked or like even like kind of just had sex from meeting somebody at Fetch has
Wow.
been beautiful. I'm like such a girl about like I lost my dog 2 years ago, but the amount of money I would be willing to spend on that little wild meatloaf is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes, but I just think I think especially if you're single,
Yeah.
get a dog. Get a dog and join one of these things. You're never alone. Also, you can get out of dates and things by saying I have to go home to the
walk
dog.
my dog. Yeah. Or
It's
do you
like
know
the
how many
greatest thing ever.
How many hot guys walking down the sidewalk with their dog that I would not have had the courage to speak to if they were just by themselves,
Right.
but they have the dog, and so I say, "Are they friendly?
Are
you friendly? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like let's talk.
It's a
You're so cute.
conversation
Yeah, exactly.
piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think
also
there's.
don't know
I
if-
would get into this business. If you are looking for a business and you don't have one of these in your town,
Yeah.
you should try to see if you could do this.
I also feel like, I mean, we all like men on this table, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like if a man owns a pet of any kind, I like trust you a little more.
Yeah,
right off
because
the
you
bat.
you
Tad
have
bit
to care
more.
about this.
Yeah, you're nurturing something.
Yeah, something
and
else.
that's very hot to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I want
I
that
totally
paternal
agree.
figure. Yeah.
And I was talking about this the other day, like especially if they're like kind to their animal, like if it's somebody that yells at their dog and
Well-
shit, like I've definitely had friends or romantic whatever that like they just seem like the best person, and they're like whatever their dog's name is, Jackie, get down, get fuck down. What the
Well, I
fuck
wonder
you-"
if,
and
like-
everyone's like, oh,
I wonder if
Sometimes
they
you
would
gotta
like,
discipline
you
your
know,
baby,
like
though.
well,
just like a regular.
discipline, but like if that's the only way you speak to your animal, then that's like abusive.
Well, like at country clubs,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with like golfers and stuff, you can get this thing called like green carded. Like you get in trouble if you
Crazy.
break any rules or don't wear the right clothes or are rude
yeah.
or seen like yelling or getting too drunk or whatever.
Sure.
So I wonder if that would happen with you or the dog. And then if you got kicked out, you could say it was my dog and it wasn't me, but it was probably you.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they have the best stories of
Yeah.
the drama that's going on behind the scenes. You know, like
Yeah.
which dog bit which dog, where was the liability. I
Or
want to know
I-
the litigation
You
they've
know what
got
I
going on.
also always thought about COVID? Like, I can't wait for like more stories to be about like COVID time, like a few years from now. But like how people might have found out like their spouse was cheating or something because maybe only 2 people in the whole neighborhood had COVID and it was your husband and this woman over here. But also you could, if the dogs like might know each other too much because you're fucking, you could say no. Our dogs know each other from the dog park. Like it could be a good, cover up because like your partner could be like, why does your dog seem so excited
Yeah.
when that lady walks by with her dog, and then he could just be like, but it's because because the dogs have seen them fuck. But it could be no, we go to the private dog club
Yeah.
and they're friends.
This reminds me, have you seen those videos on TikTok of like, it's usually a woman like carrying a camera and the caption is like catching my husband with somebody from work and it's like, hello. And they're like at a restaurant, the husband's immediately like, and it's like,
So
what's going on?
anxiety
She's a
and
friend from work. She's a friend. I don't know where work. And I didn't tell you because I knew you'd do this.
Yeah.
And like,
Is
and
it
I'm just
real?
like, I think so.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
It's
that
like,
shit gives me so much anxiety.
oh,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. It's always, and it's
Woof.
also, I know people whose husband has cheated with someone at work and they do that thing where they talk about how much they hate them. And then she found out they're having an affair the whole time. Like he'd be
Like,
like
as a cover up, talking
yeah,
about
like,
how much.
oh, she's so
I
annoying.
hate my boss.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't. I don't even want to deal with this chick. And the whole time they were screwing.
Scandalous.
And it's like weird. I don't understand that kind of lying. But anyway,
Mm.
this cutie,
Daddy.
Matt
Do you say
Matt
Bomer
Bomer
or
or Bo- it's
Bomer or
Bomer.
It's
Bo-
Bomer.
or
Bomer.
Boner, is he gay?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Yes.
Would you have a problem if he wasn't gay and cast in this? Because this is a gay series.
I don't have an opinion on that just because I mean, I don't know how you feel. I'm here for talent getting
Yeah,
casted.
I agree.
If you can fulfill a role better than somebody in the community, I personally think you should get it. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the way I feel. I definitely think there's been times where I've seen a talent that was left out of casting, and I genuinely from the outside was like, this person who is in the community would have played just as great, if not a better
Right.
part in, let's say, Call Me By Your Name, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. But I try to like kind of take it easy on that because I feel like casting is crazy altogether. Like I could never
Right.
cast. It seems insanely difficult.
He's gorgeous and cute and gay. And according to this, they are saying there's going to be a new scripted series about like taking the Golden Girls idea,
Formula.
but for I guess, older gay
I'm
men,
so
but he's
excited.
not old, so I don't know what his role is in it. Maybe he's like a
I think
son
he's
of one of the
late
old gays.
40s, honestly.
Maybe
If
he's
I,
this-
I mean,
but
he's
I
he's,
love the
he's
idea
so
of-
gorgeous.
Like the Palm Springs
Same.
scripted
Yeah.
show around older gays.
Like
and
Ross Matthews needs to be on that.
Oh,
Because
Ross.
he reps Palm Springs more than anyone I've ever
Ross has been manifesting that he will be the mayor of Palm Springs one day.
met. And
Okay.
I will be there the day he is.
And I think he definitely has a star already.
Yeah. He does.
And so, yeah.
He needs to be on the show, and then I kind of
He'll
want to fight
definitely
for
do a
us to be
guest
on
role
it.
because he's a regular on Drew, so I don't think he can
Oh,
do
there you
it,
go.
but he'll definitely get a
yeah.
guest role. I'm also watching this new, what I like to call real estate porn. It is on Netflix. Ryan Serhan was on Bravo's $1 Million Listing New York for years. And then now he has his own show. And I think Bravo's got to be kind of pissed that the best real estate shows now. Now, I'm good friends with Josh Flagg. That show is the only real estate show left on Bravo, which is $1 Million Listing LA. But Selling Sunset is on Netflix. OC and Regular. There's also
There was like Selling Tampa.
there was
too, do you
Selling
remember?
Tampa. There was a London show. There was also Buying Beverly Hills with Mauricio, Kyle's soon-to-be ex-husband or whatever they are. And now this one, which is about New York. So I started watching this, and I loved it.
Okay, I thought it was off the wall.
I
like
think it's
I don't
really
know.
good.
So much so, I was like, this has to be a scripted series. I started it last night, and I got
they're
three
all
episodes.
scripted.
Three episodes.
Okay, so
in.
one of the things in it for the first couple episodes is there's these, it's of course, he's got a bunch of agents working for him, but of course they cast, ones that will be exciting to watch that are young and sexy and
Right.
and then there's got to be that competition. It's very much like Selling Sunset and getting listings and stuff from people from the honcho. And this one guy does a podcast with this other girl, and they start ripping on some of the other agents. And that causes a big riff with everybody. And I saw a couple comments sent to me about it, and I was watching it too. Did this podcast actually really happen?
Literally.
Did it happen, or did they think to do it and then they removed it anyway? But they filmed it and they were like, just rip on each other. Because it just kind of made no sense. And then no one could find the podcast episode. But I think they say in it, oh, we removed it. But you kind of wonder, like, okay, here are the things that are going to start drama. You're going to go to a podcast, you're going to talk shit about each other, because that's what everyone does. And then we'll have a little bit of drama among the agents.
I don't doubt it. What I also learned recently is a lot of those like TikTok and Instagram
Fights?
videos where it looks like people are on a podcast and maybe it's like a doctor or they're selling a supplement or
Oh,
talking about
yes.
something, that those are completely fake. It's not a real podcast that exists or a real podcast episode. It's an ad, but they're so smart to make it seem like more legitimate of like, oh, this person was on a very famous podcast that's well produced. And it's like, no, they just took footage
Well, they
of two
do that
people on
a-
microphones.
They do that a lot with Joe Rogan.
Oh,
Where Joe they'll show it, and if you really look, you can see the lips aren't matched. It's like an AI thing, and it's his voice, and it'll be like, have you heard about these people eating raspberries? And then it'll go to the guy
These are dehydrated
saying,
raspberry
yeah,
supplement,
and then,
yeah.
oh, these raspberry gummies or whatever. And so then people think that he had this guy on his podcast, and we should buy these like raspberry gummies
Yeah.
to stay fit. And I've seen it with him a lot.
wow.
And I'm like, this never was a real episode. This guy wasn't really on it.
wild.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Like, it should be partially scripted, or at least
Yes,
like
of
these
course.
producers should totally help him stay in line. But there's one scene, I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
He's filming on top of the Empire State Building, and like he gets a call in the middle, and
Yeah.
he finds out that he was not able to sell his $250
Oh,
million
$250 million penthouse, yeah.
penthouse, and they like got it perfectly while he's on the top of the Empire State Building. And then he goes through this whole dilemma of like, I've got to get all composed again to get back on camera, and just kind of trying to show his craft. And it was just
Yeah.
so fraudulent. It was crazy.
Well, he did say he came out to New York to be an actor.
I did not know that.
Real estate and acting. I was a realtor while I pursued acting. People that get out of acting go to real estate, and people that are want to really be an actor now can get their license and be
Yeah.
on a TV show
I know
quicker than it would be to get on
actors
regular.
that are real estate agents.
Yes,
because they're just
but
yeah,
also
great.
it's such a thirsty thing with your face on signs and bus benches and everything, and I can attest to doing all of it. So Okay, so J-Lo and Ben.
Okay.
You know,
Is this real?
I've heard so many different things. Now they're saying they are selling this house, but it's because it was her house or it was never their houses together or whatever, but it's also $60 million and maybe they're just selling it. It doesn't look like it's good. I don't know that it's done, but it
Right.
definitely seems like they're going through like a hiccup. What are your thoughts?
I think first my manager Evan wants me to always say he thinks I look like Ben Affleck. He's
Oh.
Okay.
like, you're like the young gay Ben Affleck.
Yeah, you are
and
kind of.
I live for that. Everybody apparently. He's going everyone.
Yeah.
So he just wanted me to say that. But I also think
don't
with
see it.
this, like
Evan, I don't see
this
it.
photo, I really look like Ben Affleck.
Where?
Just like if you want to zoom in. That one, it's just a striking.
Here, just turn to the side.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
still don't see it. I still don't.
Look miserable. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think
somebody
get
wait,
that.
hold on.
Eddie Murphy said that he was offered coke one night
Okay.
by Robin Williams.
Oh yeah,
and,
okay.
John Belushi,
That
but he
sounds-
turned it down,
Okay.
and he's never done coke. And he was like, "Thank God that I never fell into that."
Yeah.
And
He doesn't need it. Have you
Can
seen
I
that
just
man's
say,
energy?
like, it was the 80s?
Right.
Like, I feel like I know tons of people who have tried coke, done coke,
Yeah,
and they
I don't
didn't
think
have
this
to
is-
become.
I think this
Addicted?
was just a story that he was kind of like.
Is he trying to call himself a superhero?
I think it's just a story to tell.
what's-
You're right.
Just
I
a
don't know. Now
random
I don't
Like,
know.
make
story.
himself
Like,
look good for that because, like,
I
okay,
know. I'm
cool.
like, well, who cares? Well, I mean, they are both dead, and they both had demons. One OD'd, and one,
Yeah.
ended his
And the
life.
sad truth is,
But-
a lot of times they self-medicate with drug use.
Right.
And it's like,
So I think he was saying like he was 19 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and he just
Oh,
and he said I
wow.
wasn't judging.
okay.
I just never did it.
Yeah.
And I never did it. And I'm like, thank God I didn't, because I'm here today and I never fell down a path of being addicted. And I've never tried it either.
Same.
And I never tried it because I always thought this would be, I loved movies about cocaine.
yeah.
I loved the glam.
Who doesn't?
I loved like that. It was always like a girl in like a skinny dress,
Like
like in a
real hot
nightclub,
girl,
like
Tight
Wall
Street,
Street,
all the
and
sexy
on like
cocaine
less than
use.
zero
Yeah.
and all that. And I was like, if I get into it, I just think like something that's gonna like curb my appetite, make me want to stay up all
Yeah.
night and talk about myself is just gonna be too tempting for me. I could become addicted, and so
Okay.
I never tried it.
So also a good friend of mine who does recreationally occasionally use coke told me that it's basically just like it's not like in the movies where it's like like this
Yeah.
crazy high, like you're hallucinating. It's kind of just like keeps you awake, and so you're just more awake as like an instant cup of coffee kind of thing times 10. And I was like, oh, that doesn't seem super necessary for me to ever be really
Never.
consider using. Like, I'll either go to sleep
or have an espresso
or
martini.
have an espresso and
Espresso martini,
and,
babe.
and
It's the best of both
I don't
worlds,
think
and
I
it's delicious.
have the desire to
Yeah.
ever use cocaine if it's literally just
Well, now
Caffeine.
and now with all the dangerous stuff that could be put into it, like of course you should never
people
do
are
it.
dying. Like,
Yeah.
Do a
I mean,
Red Bull
Now
and
that
call
I'm
it a
reading
day.
it, I feel like he's coming at it and like I'm really thankful and grateful, and it
Yes,
could have,
yeah,
like
it is.
I would
It
have
was,
taken it
yes.
too far. But I just know, I guess I know tons of people. I'm also a sober girly pop. I know tons of people who like can do a hard drug, be in a world of experimentation, and they don't have to go anywhere past that.
Yeah.
And they're not like, I survived. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
yeah.
It's just kind of like, they're like, I tried
There's-
drugs.
There's also talk that they're going to bring back Beverly Hills Cop.
it's already on
back.
billboards. Yeah.
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 Axel
The
F,
film is
apparently.
made.
Oh, the film's already made?
There's billboards
it's like
on
on
Hollywood
right
Oh,
now.
I
Boulevard.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So that must be
God.
what he's promoting.
We're giving
I
you the
will-
juicy
I
scoop
will
This is
here.
an
say-
interesting way
I
to
will-
promote that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I will say one thing about Eddie Murphy. I've never met him, but he is one of the
Neither have I.
main reasons I became a comedian
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
and for all the right reasons, because I've told this story to people, but I don't know if I've said it on here in a while, but I was like 10 or something, and I was watching. I could watch whatever I wanted on TV. There was no restrictions. I was the youngest of 5, so
You're
my
so
parents were like,
lucky.
do whatever. And I was watching like a call-in show, like an interview call-in show with him. And this woman called in and she said, I just am so excited to tell you because I want to tell you the story, Eddie. She's like, I had the worst thing ever happen to me in my life a couple years ago. My son died. And that day I said, I will never laugh again. And she turned on the TV and she saw him doing his character Gumby, where he's like the smoking Gumby character from SNL. And she laughed. And I remember watching that as a kid. And I was like, if I can make someone laugh on their worst day, that is why I want to do it. So when people say, oh, when did you know you wanted to be a comedian, or why do you do it? I'm like, oh, I hope one day I can tell Eddie that, because I think you will. You do?
I really do. I think that's so
beautiful.
genuinely
I love
special. I have a very similar feeling with Jamie Foxx, because he always put music into his sets as well, and like his abundant talent blew me away at a really young age. Not to mention he's just one of the most beautiful men I've ever seen in my entire life. So there's like actual like a sexualness to it as well.
Right.
But that feeling is so big, and I think you even saying this now, I cannot wait to hear the day that you get to tell him that.
Yeah.
That's really special.
I think for
Hopefully.
me at a young age, it was Eddie Murphy and Jim Carrey. And like throughout high school, and even very occasionally now, my manager is one of them. I get like, you resemble Jim Carrey, especially when I'm like really doing up the facial expressions.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the two of them just were such comedy icons and inspiration. That was around the time that like Nutty Professor and with Jim Carrey with Ace Ventura and just all the like huge comedy hits of the 90s. Like,
well, I'm excited. I'll definitely go see that movie again. I didn't realize it was already out and done.
I think it's
coming
too,
out.
right?
I don't think it's out yet. But
okay, this last story, and then we will wrap it up.
Oh, gosh.
This is crazy story. There is this guy. His name's Kyle.
Philip
Say it.
How do you say it?
Filipowski.
Filipowski. He has a fiancée named Caitlin Hutchinson. Hutchinson. Yeah.
Unrelated to
And
Josh Hutchinson.
anyway, he just graduated from Duke, and he's in the draft, the NBA draft. And the story is very strange in that all of a sudden he didn't have a good day on the first draft. Then he got with Utah. So I guess that's bad if you don't get picked the first day. Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Anyway, I figure it's like sorority
Us with
rush or
sports, that's a
something.
hard
Yeah.
one, babe.
It's like a sorority rush or whatever. Anyway, so he did get with Utah, and he is marrying this woman. But all of a sudden, his brother starts tweeting stuff. I'm the older brother, and we feel that he was groomed by this fiancée because she not only there's reports that she at one time was his babysitter, but she definitely went to the prom with him. And there was discrepancy about her age, where she said she was younger, but then people found her high school graduation photo. And to make a long story short, according to the research that was done, she went to his prom, senior prom, when he was 17, when she was 26.
Oh. 9 years old? A full? Whoa.
So they've been together that long. Here's the prom photo.
Whoa. Yeah, he looks like a baby, and she looks
in the prom,
mid-20s for sure.
one of the comments that she said in one of these things is, no, but like in the post that they found, she said, here's to the best this last year with you, meaning that they might have even been dating when he was 16. Now, they may have never had sex because I think they're like very Christian, but
Sure, and Christian
he was
people
17
never
and
had
she was
sex.
probably 25 or 26. So now
Yikes.
So there's nothing, hey, it's not a big age difference now. It just really was then. And in 5 years, it's going to mean even less. When he's like 25 and she's like 32, no one's going to care.
Sure.
But, it's a big deal. Just like it was a big deal when the prime minister or president of France or whatever, he married his teacher.
Didn't know
I was
that
not aware of
either.
that.
Yeah.
What was their age difference?
Oh, she was like 40 and he was like in the school like 16. And they had an affair and she was married, and then she left the school. He went on to do, his thing. And then they got back together. So she's like in her early 60s and he's in like his late 40s.
How do you feel about this?
I mean, I feel it's wrong. Just like I would with a man. I feel it's totally wrong. Just like the Mary Kay Letourneau thing. But then when they end up together later on and it goes on for another 20 years, you're like, well, I don't know. But no, it's definitely wrong. it definitely screws up a boy's brain to be with a woman that old.
Did you see
whether
the
it's a
movie May
teacher-
December?
Yeah, that was the Mary Kay Letourneau
Oh,
thing.
okay. I forgot
That was
the name,
based
but-
on that.
Yeah.
And I think it's totally fucked up. But now I'm like, what's weird is that like they are saying that like because of her involvement that she's isolating him from the brother and the mom and the family because he is going to be making so much money in the NBA.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh, like you're almost thinking her intent is like he's going to be a money machine as
Yeah,
well
but now
as
I'm
like,
almost like if this is the case, and I'd be like, look, I'm not going to be able to convince my son not to marry the girl that he's been with since he was 17. So we better just accept her
yeah.
so that we can go to the games and have our kid and just be like, yeah, it was fucking weird. But if this is who you want to marry,
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'd want, and especially if my son's going to be like, making millions of dollars, I want to go to the games.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
there's
don't
a
want him
weird,
to buy me a house.
There's a weird side on the gay community as well as like far as like terms between couples because there's a lot of age difference and then I remember when I was 16 the amount of like 25 and 30-year-olds that I wanted to date. But you optically look at it now that I'm a 30-year-old man, there would be no way.
Right.
So you can look at it on
yeah.
both sides and try to like have a level of sympathy or a devil's advocate for it and say, when I was that young, I thought I was geared up to like date a 25-year-old.
Sure.
But as a 25-year-old, like, you've got to be for real with yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you've
there's always going to be an imbalance, whether it's,
Yeah.
because of the age difference, regardless of the gender, there's going to be a huge imbalance where there can be a manipulation that you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
And no matter how, she's mature or he's mature or whatever. But I'm saying if it's this much far down the road and now everybody's over
Right.
18 and he wants to marry her, I'd be like, and they are engaged. I'm just saying as the family, I'd be like, I wouldn't have put it out all on Twitter in an angry thing.
1,000%.
No.
I don't have that brain and those instincts. So like even for me, like seeing somebody on a dating app that's 25, I'm like, and like they're very clearly an adult. Or like Tom Holland, for instance, I think is a very handsome man. And now he's 25, 26 or something. But the first time I ever saw him was with Naomi Watts in The Impossible, where he's under the age of 15. And so it's very hard for my brain to now switch and
because
say...
now he is old, yeah.
Right. And to now switch and be like, he's an attractive man that I would... Whatever. And I'm just like, it still feels gross to me, even though he's very clearly above the age of 18.
And then also
Yeah.
they were saying that they didn't think he got picked the first round because of this. And this drama, teams were just like,
I wouldn't doubt it, yeah.
yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to let you guys go. Tell everybody where you can be found and what is going on with you guys and where they can follow you.
So we got some exciting news.
Yeah.
You can find me at Jake Jones with a Z on all socials.
And I'm Aaron Goldie Boy.
The most upcoming news is I have an album dropping on 7/11, so that's like soon. I'm so excited.
Oh, God, we're going to be in competition with Sexy Catholic.
Hey, maybe we can do a feature. Let's not make it competition. Let's work it out on the remix.
And can I ask, is Catholic 3 separate words?
It's 3 separate syllables.
Cath.
Oh.
O-L-I-C-K.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But then, Aaron, tell them where you can find you at.
You can find me at Aaron Goldie Boy. We also haven't announced it anywhere on socials. And we don't have like exact dates and details, but we are currently negotiating doing a comedy tour, 7 stops, I think mostly along the East Coast a little bit later this year. So definitely follow us and we'll, put out details of that.
That could be so fun.
So excited. So excited.
I've got a couple shows coming out specifically this year on Apple TV Plus. The first episode drops, I believe, July 15th. It's called Me, about a young boy with superpowers, and I play a waiter in like the 5th episode, but it's a longer role. They're at the restaurant for a while, so. And then I'm in a show called Bad Monkey, which premieres in the middle of August, and both of those are on Apple TV Plus. And
So you're killing it.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't
Your
wait to go
life
out and
changed.
kiss every person on the lips, You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to just touch people.
Well, you better not.
on our tour.
You better
yeah,
not.
Maybe
maybe
like,
not.
it's gonna be
Maybe
cute.
not
Yes.
lip kisses for everyone. What was in this coffee? My God.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Heather,
you for
thank you
having
again for
us.
having us. We love it here.